So the Grey Mining, ticker on the ASX is DEG, is one of those companies that remind you of why you are in the mining business. One big discovery can, and in this case did, make a lot of shareholders a lot of money. We're talking to the Grey's Simon Lill today to get an update and hear where additional upside can possibly be found. Simon, good to talk to you again.
Yeah, hi Bjorn, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And it's certainly been a busy time for the Grey since we last spoke. You've been drilling and drilling and drilling at Hemi, and very successfully too. Of course, that also there's lots and lots of numbers. So to bring some order to this veritable flood of data, please give us a short overview of what the Grey achieved at Hemi so far.
I think if you looked at our past announcements, July 2019, we announced a series of intrusion-style targets that were similar to another resource that we have, Taorana. December 2019, we announced some fantastic air core results at both what is now Brolga and Aquila. The market did not seem to pay any attention to them, but we went into Christmas at that point being really positive. And then in February, we came out with our discovery holes, RC holes. And for Aquila and Brolga, our first two discoveries there, we absolutely hit the sweet spot. I won't say we haven't had better results than what we got, but off the top of my head, Brolga was 93 at 3.2 and Aquila was 45 at 7.2 or similar. So yeah, we're very fortunate. That was February 2020, and you know, here we are in May 2021. It's just amazing how far we have come. So,
well, as I said, it's been busy, or as you said, it's been busy. You've been drilling a lot, but still, Hemi is far from drilled out, right? And there's still lots of room to grow. Which areas do you think look most promising to quickly and efficiently grow Hemi further?
I think what's really interesting is, okay, yes, we get Aquila and Brolga, and that's great. Crow, which was to the north, looked like a fairly low-grade resource until we reported 65 metres at 13 grams per tonne. So we're now chasing the McLeod lode within Crow. Last September, we didn't even know Falcon existed, and that's had terrific results. These are big ore bodies, you know, they're a kilometre and a half long. The intersection's sort of 100 metres wide. Yeah, suddenly Jukon and Eagle turn up. And our initial impressions and our geologists' initial impressions were, oh, they're a bit spotty, a bit ratty. And now you look at the results we're getting from both of those ore bodies as well, and that's all in the space of 2 months. So when we get onto them in this region, you can grow resource ounces very, very quickly, and that's been the recent experience over the last 6 months. Putting aside perhaps the first, we call them the birds, the first 3 birds that we have in our Aquila, Brolga, Crow. So what we're looking for is the next bird, Bjorn.
Okay, well, we'll see how that goes. Certainly looking forward to it. So the Grey has also started to lift its head a bit and have a look around what the company calls the Greater Hemi area. Can you please tell us more about what you're looking at and for in that regard? Okay,
so if we look at regional and Greater Hemi as perhaps 2 different zones, so Greater Hemi, maybe you define, and I'm just looking at a circle in a map that's above here. You know, that stretches to Electronis, Antwerp and beyond. That might be a 20 to 25 kilometre radius from Hemi. So we call that area Greater Hemi, and we've got a number of intrusion targets there. And we have been marching out Jukon Eagle towards Antwerp. We've been heading what would be sort of southeast from Hemi. There's a large granite plug near Hemi, but we've been following around the borders there, and we're getting interesting sniffs there. Scooby has been an area that we've been always quite interested in. We haven't reported much on that lately, but there's been an RC rig there as well. So that's Greater Hemi. There is a lot of activity. apart from what we're doing within Hemi. And Duke on Eagle, we've still got a lot more definition to come through. Crow, we've got a lot more drilling to do. We've started to talk about Brolga South. It's looking a bit Crow-like in the early days, but as we've seen with Crow, who knows where that takes us. Regionally, we have said we're going to start stepping out. We've got a number of targets regionally. There are the shear zone targets, the existing resources like Withnell, Malina. They're all open at depth and on strike. They will grow resources. We've got intrusions out there along that whole ore body. There'll be intrusions that we haven't yet identified. It is a vast area. There's 1,500 square kilometres. We've got a lot of exploration to do as well. So Greater Hemi, regional, Hemi itself, all of those ore bodies are still open along strike and at depth. So we've got a lot of work to do. We're excited about it, so we will keep moving forward.
Well, there's certainly a lot of room to grow then. Apart from the drilling, though, the methodology of any gold project is of very great importance for its economic viability, even if investors tend to react to the news more strongly. Where's the Grey at in that respect? What kind of recovery processes and numbers are you looking at?
We've had a couple of metallurgical results. I mean, we certainly had metallurgical results in our regional material, and Withnell was a difficult ore body, but we were still getting high 90s or perhaps low to mid 90s would be a better way. Recoveries at Withnell. The metallurgy at Hemi, it's showing it's a semi-refractory ore body. There's oxide transitional. People get scared in Australia of refractory. They get less scared of refractory in North America. We don't use that word. But oxidation techniques are showing that we're getting excellent recovery, somewhere between 92 to 95% and higher. So we're using 3 different oxidation techniques, which is BIOX, the Albion technology, and pressure oxidation. And all of them, the ores are responding consistently and positively towards those techniques. Our ore body is clearly going to be of a size that it's going to withstand costs of pressure oxidation, which we think are people get over concerned about anyway. We're in a terrific region from an infrastructure point of view, a power cost point of view, etc. So we're reasonably comfortable with the metallurgy. Very comfortable, I should say. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear that. But as I said, it's an important point some investors tend to overlook. But it seems like you have all that in hand. Now, we're getting closer to the maiden resource calculation for Hemi, or at least the time frame you gave for its publication. I know you can't have any numbers for us yet, but can you give us a rough idea of what you're aiming or hoping for? Which areas, if not all, will be included in the estimate?
No. Sorry. Look, there's a number of the best I can do is there's a number of brokers that are now researching us, and depending on when they did their report, their numbers are tending to be 4.5 to 5 on the low side, 6 on the high side. Depends at what time that report is. Cut-off grades start meaning something, of course, as well. So, look, I think we're somewhere in those sort of areas, obviously. These people aren't wrong, but it's, I say that with great care. But we haven't finalised it yet, but it's clearly going to be somewhere in that sort of area. We must also note that we've still got an existing 2.2 million ounces. So,
yeah, sure, forget about that, especially in today's price environment, which is looking much better again, moving up. So, yeah. Well, I didn't really think you'd give me any kind of unstable. You have to try, right? You have to try to see what you can get. Now, after that milestone of a first resource calculation for Hemi, what is next? What will De Grey work on for the remainder of this year and in 2022?
Look, we have obviously, and if you look at our announcements, we talk about extensional drilling and we talk about infill drilling. So we are drilling a lot of the resources towards indicated ounces. And that does give the investors some comfort that the ounces aren't disappearing. And it's not a surprise when you look at the consistency of the intersections at Brolga as our prime example. But we're also drilling extensionally. We are finding more gold, and we're going to be stepping out regionally. Obviously, we do studies on the way through. We haven't said a lot about where we're planning to go, and we won't say a lot about that because we're still resolving it. We feel as though we've still got a lot of gold to find, and that to say that this is what our project looks like could be misinformation, because our project, we think, is going to get bigger.
Okay, so all we talked about really was that you did a lot of work already, which comes at a cost. I mean, Grey raised a lot of money, but you also did a lot of work. So where does the company stand cash-wise now, and how long, if let's say you work at the current pace, how long will the remaining funds last?
Yes, so if Bjorn, I can just say something on that, in that I'm not sure what our last announcement talked about. I think it said that we had 8 or 9 rigs on site. Our drilling contractors, it's been an unusual period through COVID, as you would well know. We've struggled with staff in Western Australia, where our borders have been closed over here. And our main drilling contractors, Top Drill and Wallace, have done a terrific job to keep rigs up to us and get rigs to us at our requirement, when we well know that a lot of junior explorers have been seeking rigs. Our assay laboratory is absolutely inundated at the moment. The exploration sector in this part of the world has just been going bananas, if I can put it like that. And they've also looked after us. We're suddenly a major client of theirs too. So what does all that mean? Last quarter, we said that we had $87 million in the bank at the end of the quarter. The previous quarter, I think it was 103, so you're spending $16 million a quarter with the number of rigs that we have. So we are still well cashed up. We're still spending aggressively. We're still producing results, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. Well, that's certainly good to hear. I mean, you know, GOLDINVEST started talking about the Grey, fortunately, I have to say, a couple of years ago, when the stock was at, I don't know, I think 4 cents Australian. While today, I think it weighed in at about $1.56 and a market cap of $2 billion. That's a nice, cool 3,800% gain so far. Do you nevertheless see further potential for the stock, the significant potential for the stock, or why?
Well, I don't think we're going to go up by another 3,600%, Bjorn. But look, I think there's a couple of short-term drivers potentially. One is obviously, what does that mineral resource estimate look like when we eventually get there? 2 is you get to this period where you start looking at re-rating into the ASX 200, and that does cause some issues with issues is the wrong word, but you know, you do get index funds, be they passive or active, having to look at you at that point. Not saying we're going to get there, because I don't know, but that's coming up. So they're 2 short-term drivers, apart from just the ongoing good results. Look, the longer-term driver is clearly, we believe there's going to be another Hemi, maybe another 2 Hemis in the region, maybe more. So look, that's obviously, we might keep finding more birds in that greater Hemi region. That's all going to be positive to it. If we find another Hemi in the broader region, okay, well, you tell me what that does to us. So,
okay. Well, all in all, nobody can complain so far, and we're certainly hoping that it will continue in that style and vein. Thank you very much for taking the time, and we'll sure to talk at a later point, perhaps when the resource comes out. Thank you.
all right. Thanks, Bjorn.